Yeah. So my name is Brandon Worthy. I'm Dr. Brandon Worthy. I work as an assistant professor and also as the program coordinator for the Rehabilitation Counseling and Disability Sciences program. And I'd like to say hello and welcome to the 2025 Spring Information Session. We appreciate all of your interest in our program. And if you have any questions during the presentation, please put them in the chat. And we're going to be doing our best to keep up with the chat and answer them as we go. But there will also be time at the end of the presentation uh, for questions as well. So if you have any questions, we'll make sure there's time to answer them. All right, so I wanted to start off today by kind of introducing you to the staff within the RCDS program. And first off, we have Dr. Chi Chien Chu, and she's an associate professor and the program coordinator for both the CRMHC program and the RCDS program. Um, we have Tatiana Acosta, who could not join us today, but she is the academic program specialist. She's a great resource for the program. If you have any questions, typically, she's pretty quick to respond and happy to help. So if you have any questions, reach out to her, and if not, reach out to one of us. All of our contact information is here. I've introduced myself already, but Dr. Leah Worthy is on the presentation with us here today. And would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Leah Worthy. I'm also a professor for this program, and then I am the field placement coordinator. So I teach the practicum and internship class and then help students secure their placements and get all of their field placements started. And we'll talk more about that later in this slide or in this PowerPoint.
Sorry about that. I hit the wrong button too many times and flipped the slide. All right. So thank you. So start off with, we'll talk a little about the, sorry, trying to get my windows aligned here. We'll talk a little bit, tell you the RCDS mission statement. And so the mission of the Rehabilitation Counseling and Disability Sciences program is to improve the quality of life for people with disabilities and their families by educating graduate students with the essential skills, knowledge, and dispositions needed to become ethical, responsive, and culturally competent professionals working in the field of human services. And so the RCDS Master of Science program, it is a fully online 60 credit master's degree. There is credentialing opportunity at the end of our program, and that credentialing opportunity is to become a certified rehabilitation counselor. This program was born out of a 50-year established program, and not only are our faculty highly trained professors, but they are also experts in the field. So typically, if you have any questions about the field or the types of opportunities that you may find, please reach out to any one of the professors or staff for the program, and we'll all be glad to help you. Um, One of the greatest things about the RCDS program is the flexible format. And so, what that's designed for is to kind of cater to working professionals. So, people who work 40 hours a week, who need a program that's flexible and you can kind of do on your own time. That's who we try our best to cater to. So, the flexible format basically involves most of the lectures. The classroom lectures will be pre recorded. Everything is done in an application or a system called Canvas. And so that's where you would find all of your assignments and modules and things like that that you would have to work. There are due dates every week. Typically, it's Sunday by midnight at the end of the week. Um, and you just kind of work at your own pace. And so that's just a little bit about the flexible format, anyways. If you have additional questions, please let us know. Uh, but there is specialized training. This is a specialized training for those interested in working with individuals with disabilities. That's what rehabilitation counseling is. It sometimes is people sometimes confuse it a little bit with other types of rehabilitation. However, this is a specialized training for working with individuals with disabilities. And the emphasis on advocacy for social justice and societal change is a big part of the program and what we train our counselors in training to become advocates. And there is university accreditation, and the university is accredited through the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools Commission on Colleges.
All right, so we wanted to talk a little bit about what careers you can potentially have after graduating with this degree. And these are just a few. There are a lot out there, especially once you become a certified rehabilitation counselor and take and pass that exam. A lot of our students work as rehabilitation counselors for a state agency. A lot of our students are currently working or during their program become employed with the state agencies. There are other options that include private rehab companies or private practices, private vocational rehab practices, where you can provide vocational rehab services or work as a certified vocational evaluator and conduct assessments to assist with the employment process or with disability litigation process, workers comp. We also have some students that go on to work with the Veterans Affairs offices in the vocational rehabilitation section of those VA offices. We also have some more jobs in the private sector where you can work as an Americans with Disability Act coordinator or an ADA compliance officer, where you're basically making sure that people within that business are receiving accommodations in the workplace and that the work environment itself complies with the Americans with Disabilities Act. There are also some jobs in university settings with accommodation services offices. Um, so, again, providing accommodations to students in the classroom. We also have some jobs working with disability advocacy groups in more nonprofit settings. We've also had students working with the city as ADA compliance officers for the city and providing um, services for students with disabilities in the community. But this is just kind of a high level overview of the jobs that are out there and the variety of careers that you can be eligible for once you graduate from the program and obtain your certified rehab counselor certification.
All right, so we want to just give you a brief overview of what a plan of study would look like for a full-time student. And so if you plan to attend the program full-time, it does take 2 years to complete. You would typically have 4 classes per semester if the classes are all 8 week classes. So any semester that you have where you have a 10 week or a 16 week class or course, you would only have 3 classes. So if you'll see, if for instance, this is a spring start full-time schedule. And if you look at the top, you'll see that there are 4 8 week classes. So you'll see that there's a spring A and a spring B. And so spring A is the first 8 weeks of the semester. Spring B is the second 8 weeks of the semester. And so you'll only be taking 2 courses at once at any point in time, at any given point in time. And then the same with the summer. You have a summer A and a summer B. Summer C is a 10 week course, and so it would last the duration of the summer. And but you're once again you're never actually working on two more than 2 courses at once. So that's kind of our students have found that helpful, with the class loads for sure. All right, and then we also offer a part-time schedule. And if you want to consider part-time, it does take 4 years to complete. And for each semester, you would be expected to take 2 courses per semester. With the exception of No, I believe it's is that right, Leah? It's two courses per semester if you're part-time, correct?
Yeah, except for your field experiences, since they are a little bit more intensive with the time commitments. Those are the um, practicum and the internship. You will take them as the only class that given semester.
Thank you. And then also I did want to mention, although most of our classes are asynchronous and do not have class meeting times, we do have four courses that do have class that do meet synchronously. Two of those being practicum and internship. And so with those two classes, Dr. Leah Worthy will provide you more information on that. But there are four classes that will meet synchronously. Typically, those class times we try to make they're Wednesday from 6 to 7:30 every semester. And so if you do get admitted into the program, try to keep that in mind when you're working with your employer to make sure that you are able to um, have that time on Wednesday evenings to attend those classes. If you have any questions, any other questions about the plans of study, anything like that, just please let us know.
All right. So we wanted to also give you a little bit of information about how we developed our classes, like Dr. Worthy was talking about. Um, so a lot of our classes are asynchronous where you can work at your own pace. There's one module due per week. But if you know you have a busy schedule and need to work ahead, you can always work ahead in those classes. But we worked with the innovative education team here at USF to create interactive lectures to provide those course content. We try to use a variety of different learning styles in the course. So some weeks you might be watching a pre-recorded lecture. Some weeks you also have demonstration videos where you're seeing counselors actually provide skills to clients. They also have interactive modules that you click through and read and interact with to get the material, or sometimes we have you watching like YouTube videos or movies or listening to podcasts. So we tried to vary how that content is delivered to you each week for those classes that are strictly online. Um, and so we have worked to make those modules as interactive as possible and as engaging as possible for the ones where you work at your own pace. All right. So field placement. So field placement, there's a question. Hold on, I'm going to answer that question. So the question in the chat is, how do classes work with students who need accommodations? Um, we have the Student Accessibility Office through USF. Um, so you will apply for accommodations with that office, the Student Accessibility Office, and you'll have a accessibility coordinator or officer who looks at what your disability is, and then tells the professors in that class what accommodations you need, and then we make whatever accommodations they tell us to make. But also we understand working with disabilities very well, and so if there's anything in classes that ends up not being as accessible as possible, just reach out to us. We are always trying to improve our classes and make them as accessible as possible, but we basically implement whatever accommodations are needed to help students succeed in our courses. All right. Um, so field placement is two main experiences in this program, which are your practicum, which is in the summer semester, and you get 100 hours of field experience. And of those 100 hours, 40 are direct client hours where you are working directly with clients. The other 60 hours are just agency hours, so doing case notes, any administrative aspects of the job, trainings, anything of that nature. And then you have your internship for one semester, which is 600 hours total, so about 40 hours a week. Of those 600 hours, you get 240 direct client contact hours. So Once you leave the program, you do have a total of 700 hours working in the field. And basically, these experiences are a great place for you to apply everything you've learned and also get that hands on experience working with your selected population. So, like I mentioned earlier, internship is basically a full time job. You need about 40 hours a week to get those 600 hours in the 16-week semester. Um, we work to help you identify placement sites if you aren't currently working in the field, but ultimately it is up to you to secure your sites. You're responsible for contacting agencies, sending them your application materials, going through whatever interview process they have. Um, but we help you identify sites in your area to help you make sure that that site aligns with your career interests and your goals, and that it also meets the requirements that we have for internship, where you do have to have somebody that's qualified to supervise you on site and that you can get the hours in the allotted semester time frame. And so if you are currently working in a rehab agency or an organization, you can use your current job as a field placement site. It's always a bonus if you can get paid during your field experience and then also get that class credit. But what we do in those instances is we will work with your supervisor to make sure that you're doing job responsibilities as a vocational rehab counselor and being able to apply those rehab counseling skills and knowledges. Um, but like I said earlier, if you aren't currently working in the field, you can meet with me and we'll talk about potential sites that align with your career interests. And I am the field experience coordinator. So if you have any other questions about internship practicum, just send me an email and I'm more than happy to answer them.
Thank you. And so I want to review program cost a little bit. So the program is a flat rate, and the flat rate is $600 per credit hour. So there are no differences whether you're in state or out of state as far as tuition is concerned. It is a 60 credit degree. And so 60 credits at $600 a credit, the total cost is $36,000 for the program. There are financial aid opportunities. You would want to speak with the Office of Financial Aid for that. The university, I'm not sure what scholarships are available, but that is something that you could certainly search and possibly find out more information about with the Office of Financial Aid as well. And if you work for the state of Florida, there are tuition reimbursement programs. You'll want to check with your employer to find out more details about that. I do know that typically um, the students who enroll under the tuition reimbursement programs, typically they attend part-time and have two classes per semester covered by the reimbursement. Um, we are not able to accept state tuition waivers as part of this program. That is different from the tuition reimbursement. So um, we have in the past had RSA scholarships available. We do not have those available now. If that becomes an option in the future and they open that up for universities to apply, we will certainly apply for that. And if at some point during um, your attendance in our program that becomes available, you're welcome to apply for it at that time.
There was a question in the chat too about are we planning on accepting waivers, tuition waivers in the future? And we are not. Our program is not set up to allow tuition waivers, only the tuition reimbursement. And yes, that also includes the USF tuition waiver. We cannot accept any waiver programs. And then, yes, the presentation is being recorded. And once this ends, the presentation will be available in this chat for you to immediately get. And then in the next coming days, Tatiana will send out the presentation or the recording link to everybody, and it'll also be posted on our website. So you will definitely have access to it. But we did want to talk about the application process because we're hoping some of you do want to apply after hearing about the program. So we have a pretty straightforward application process. If you click on the application portal link that is on this slide, it'll take you straight to the portal. We'll also send these slides out after the presentation. But this application portal can also be found on the Apply Now tab of our website. On this portal, it will direct you to fill out some basic demographic information, and then it'll prompt you to submit your application materials. What we need from you is a statement of purpose. So tell us why you're applying, why you want to work in the field, or why you think you'd be a good fit with our program. We also need your CV or resume, and then 3 letters of recommendation. When you go to do your letters of recommendation, you put in your recommender's email address, and then the person that is submitting the letter of recommendation will get an automatic email from the portal for them to upload the references into your application portal. So, and if you are in school or recently have graduated, we do like one of those reference letters to come from a professor. But if that's not the case, then it can be any work supervisor or someone in a leadership role or someone who supervises you in a volunteer type experience. We also will need a copy of your transcript. If you are a USF graduate, you don't need to actually send us an official transcript. We have access to a copy of it, but any other school, we need an official transcript sent to us. We also do need GRE scores. But with the GRE scores, if you have any experience, either personally or professionally, working with people with disabilities, reach out to us at the email, the cbcs-rcds at usf.edu email provided here, or any of us on this chat or on this call today, and we can send you a waiver for a GRE, which means you don't have to take the GRE. We can substitute your experience for those GRE scores. So that's one of the perks of our program, is that if you have experience, you can waive the GRE scores. We also do a background check since you are going to be working with clients during the program, and a lot of sites require a background check. Anyways, we go ahead and start that process to make sure you can work with clients. And then we also do conduct a phone interview to get some more information on what your career goals are and if you are a good fit for the program. Once you submit all of your application materials onto the portal and they're reviewed, if you're selected to move to the next phase of the application process, one of us will reach out to you via the email address you provide, and we'll schedule a phone interview with you. Like I said earlier, that phone interview is just a chance for us to get to know you better, learn more about your experiences and your career goals. And then also, once you submit all of your materials onto the application portal, there is an application fee. But once you submit the fee and the materials, you do get a confirmation from the portal. Sometimes that confirmation that your application has been submitted does go to spam, so make sure you check there to confirm it was received. But you can also reach out to the program email to see if we can check to make sure all of your materials are received. And so with the applications, if you want to apply for a fall entry, the applications are due by June 1st. If you want to apply to start in the spring, applications are due by October 15th.
All right. And so I spoke a little bit about licensure earlier for becoming a certified rehabilitation counselor. And so we do have students that decide they want to be a licensed mental health counselor after completing the program and things like that. And so we do want to make sure that everyone is aware that at this time we do not have KCREP accreditation. If you live in the state of Florida and many other states, particularly the ones listed in the bottom bullet there, Arkansas, Florida, Kentucky, Nebraska, Nevada, North Dakota, and Ohio, our program does not meet licensure requirements for you to become a licensed professional counselor or licensed mental health counselor. Um, that being said, we have applied for KCREP accreditation. We are hopeful and we're keeping our fingers crossed. We hope that that comes through for us, but it has not yet. And so we do like to let everyone know that you will need to check the state requirements for licensure in your state because each state has different requirements. So be sure before you accept admission into our program or anything like that, that you are aware of what the requirements of the licensure board in your state is and whether or not you will be able to achieve your goals as a counselor through our program. We want to make sure that everyone's successful, and the only way for us to do that really is to make is to be completely um, just to try to completely make everyone aware, that KCREP accreditation is required by some states for becoming a licensed mental health counselor. Okay, that being said, it does not prevent you from becoming a rehabilitation counselor. Uh, um, so, a certified rehabilitation counselor, our program meets all of the requirements for that. And so once you have completed at least 75% of our program, you are eligible to sit for the CRC exam. We encourage all of our students to do that. Our program is um, intended to be a track for rehabilitation counseling, and so we like to see that our students are becoming certified rehabilitation counselors. And if you have any questions about the exam or what that licensure looks like, please let us know. Um, if at any point in time we do get KCREP accreditation and you're a student within our program, we will let you know that KCREP accreditation. At that point in time. Again, depending on the requirements of your state for licensure, uh, would more than likely qualify you to become an LMHC. But like I said, once we have the licensure, we'll let everyone know. But until then, we do not have KCREP accreditation. All right. So up next, we have a student from the program that came to speak with you, Nicholas Wainwright. He's a second year student with the RCDS program, and he's going to talk to you just a little bit about his experience. Nicholas, how are you?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. But yeah, just starting off, like I really love this program. I am in California right now, so doing an online program was a little daunting, but I will say the format of our program is amazing, especially as I'm working full time. The format of it is just so nice having those flexible due dates where you know everything's due on Sunday, so you have all week to work on it. And the platform of how we do our courses is really nice, where it's only two. And I found that it really isn't that hard to juggle work and my schooling at the same time. And even when I do have questions, I feel like all of our professors are amazing when it comes to reaching out and making sure that you're aware of anything going on in the course. So if you're nervous about that, like don't be. I know I was starting off because I've never done an online program before, but I think our program is just very top notch when it comes to making sure you feel like you're not doing just a standard online program where you don't meet anyone. And I think it's also due to our cohort. Like I talk to a lot of people in my cohort. Either I have questions or I'm just like confused on something. I'll reach out to them all the time. And a lot of times it's like a good little community that we build here. So I really have enjoyed it. And I would say if you're nervous at all, don't be that. You will feel welcomed entering this program. And I've learned so much. And I'm so excited for my next step, which will be doing my hours coming up. And it's really flown by. Like I don't know how, but I feel like I started the other day. Like it's really crazy how much I've enjoyed it and how much you do really do learn in these programs.
Thank you so much, Nicholas. And are you going to be here for a few minutes in case anyone has a question for you?
Yeah.
All right, perfect, perfect. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. And so we finished our presentation. a little bit early. I may have sped through this. If I did, and you want to go back to anything, please let me know. But we do have time for questions, so I'd like to open it up at this point for anyone who has any questions. And if you would just use the tab to raise your hand, and we will call on you. Also, if you don't have questions now and you think of some later, email us. We will be ready to respond. All right, Sarah Canson, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. So I work with Kansas Rehabilitation Services, and I help coordinate our counselors who come in with, some of our minimum standards to get additional education. And so I guess my question is, can somebody enroll to take just a couple of your classes, or is this program only really for that full degree?
So I'm glad you asked that because we do offer non-degree seeking students courses for licensure and things like that. So basically, what you would want to do is share the letter from your licensure board stating the classes that you need. And at that time, we would review your application or your letter and to take those classes and send you a decision. So yes,
Okay, awesome.
is
I
that
will make sure to pass that information on.
for sure. Thank you so much. That's a
Mm-hmm.
great question. We need to add a slide for non-degree seeking students, so that's a good reminder. Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Cherry Courtney, how are you? Or Courtney Cherry,
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, you're okay. That's fine. So my question is for the GRE waiver. How
Uh-huh.
much experience do you have to have in order to get, I guess, to get the waiver for the
Sure,
GRE?
sure. Really, just if you would just share your resume with us, um, and well, basically, if you want, just send me an email afterwards, and we can send you the information for the GRE waiver application process. But
Mhm.
any experience that you have had working with individuals with disabilities, we value that, and
Mhm.
so it will certainly be considered. There's no minimum time
Mhm.
requirement for having worked with anyone. So yeah, just tell us about your experience. We want to learn about it, and if we can waive your GRE, we will for sure.
Okay, because currently, right now, my position is I'm a vocational rehabilitation counselor. So that's why I was kind of curious, like, because I'm going on a year, so I didn't know if it was in years or if it was in like a certain time frame. So that's why
You
I wanted
qualify.
to know.
You you
Okay,
you you would qualify, yeah. So just send us your information. We'd be happy to talk to you about that.
okay, thank you.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you, and great question.
And then in the chat, Jasmine asked what the email was. So, Jasmine, I replied to your question and provided the program's generic email, and all of us have access to that, so we can answer any emails that come to that.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yes, you're welcome.
All right. Any other questions? Allison, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well.
So I had a question for Nicholas. He had mentioned that you're starting your hours, your internship part of it. Was that what you were referring to?
So I'll be starting that in the summer. So yeah, my
Okay.
internship and practicum
Okay,
will
got
be
it.
the fall.
So um, how was that process looking for your internship? Did you like do it on your own being in California? How would you say you were able to find that internship?
So yeah, I came into the program kind of having an idea of what I wanted to do. So I reached out. I'm actually doing mine with our community college in our area as part of the disability center. So I'll be doing counseling with students with disabilities and veterans. So I just emailed that department for that community college that I knew I wanted to do my hours at, and then they connected me with their supervisor, and then I just confirmed that they had hit the key requirements that Leah had or Dr. Worthy had talked about. So therefore, I was like, okay, should be good. And then I met with Dr. Worthy, and she kind of like went over the qualifications for it and made sure that it aligned with the program.
Gotcha. Okay. And then was that kind of a paid experience, or you were just going and just getting like reaching out to them saying that you want to work and work out with them?
Yeah, so I knew I wanted to work with students with disabilities, so I just found that specific department and emailed, and I think I just did their generic email, and then from there, their program specialist emailed me back and was like, "Oh, like let me contact you with our director, because they'll be the one that will be signing off for your hours for doing that." So a lot of times, if you ask the question, they'll kind of know who that person is that you should reach out to. But if not, just email the general emails. I feel like those always work because they'll direct you to who's most appropriate to talk to.
Okay. Sounds great. Thank you. I'm kind of thinking ahead, but I just wanted to get an idea from your perspective,
Gotcha.
being that, if you're in a different state or something like that, doing the online class, kind of what that would look like. So appreciate it.
And Allison, what state are you in? Because we have students in different states as well, so we might potentially have some pre-approved sites in that state.
So I am currently in Tampa, but I might be moving
Okay.
at the end of the year. So I just don't know. So I was just curious what that would what that would be in general.
Yeah,
That
no,
look
that,
like.
but like I said, we have um a lot of students in Maryland, some in Michigan, a couple other states as well. So there's a potential that there are sites where you are moving, but if not, you would just set up a meeting with me and we can talk about looking for sites in whatever area you end up moving to.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Also, the process of getting a site approved and all this pretty streamlined, I'd say, and fairly simple to do. There's a university agreement that the site and the university will have between the two, and we try to keep it pretty simple. We want to make it as streamlined of a process and as smooth of an experience as possible for you for sure. Jasmine, how are you?
Awesome.
I'm good, and yourself?
Good, good.
I just want to ask, what is the acceptance rate of this program?
That's a great question. It's a really young program right now, and so we haven't compiled all the statistics yet to have those rates, but that is something that we're working on. And but typically, I would say that we have a pretty high acceptance rate right now.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
And in general, we try to cap our or at each cohort at 14 so that we can have smaller class sizes as well and have that cohort model where you are with the same people each class and have that like sense of community.
With our
Yes, that's
program,
definitely something that I find very valuable because I feel like a small classroom, everybody gets the same amount of attention. So that definitely works for me.
and as far as the acceptance rate, us allowing two cohorts per year allows us to have a little bit higher of an acceptance rate than some programs. And so we will have a cohort every spring and every fall, especially since it's limited to 14. Right. Any other questions? Great questions.
I did want to mention about class size. There are a couple classes where multiple cohorts will be combined, but those are your asynchronous classes where you are working independently. But any of the skills classes, so like skills and techniques, group counseling, practicum, internship, where you actually are meeting in person, you are typically by yourself, or your cohort is by itself, or we break it up into multiple sections so that we can keep the class sizes small.
All right. Any other questions? Well, if anyone has any questions, like I say, after the presentation's over, just please let us know. We're happy to answer anything that we can for you. We appreciate everyone who's in attendance today, and thank you for taking the time out of your day to spend it with us, and learn more about our program. Uh, Dr. Leeworthy, do you have anything you'd like to say? Oh, I see some hands going up too, so yeah.
Go for it, Sarah.
I just had one other question, and you may have covered this, so if I missed it, I do apologize. We within the Kansas Rehab program, we look for schools that have stipends for students. Is that something that you guys have at this time?
We don't have any
Okay.
stipends at this time.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
And
We are
you're
planning
welcome.
to apply for the RSA scholarship if it becomes available this year. So
Okay.
hopefully we will
Awesome.
be able to
I
apply.
wondered.
Yes, we
Okay.
plan to apply for it. But and then also Sarah, with Kansas, with the non-degree seeking students, I did want to mention that we accept students in our non-clinical classes. So if students need practicum or internship, they would actually have to enroll fully into the program.
Okay.
Just
Yeah,
one
and I know that
we have there.
for our counselors, what we're doing is not getting them fully licensed. A lot of the time, we are just getting them up to meeting the standards that we are requiring for counselors, because here in Kansas, counselors don't have to be CRC
Mhm.
licensed, which is everybody has different thoughts about that. As a CRC myself, I really value the CRC licensure, of course, but no, so a lot of the time what we are looking for is just getting them, depending on what qualifications they come in on, they either need 4 or 8 classes. And so they don't have to do that practicum internship piece. So it sounds like you guys might be a good option for us, but we're just kind of trying to explore what all of our options are for our students. So again, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to answer my questions and just do this presentation in general. It's a great information session.
Yes, and if you want us to do a more in-depth um, info session for Kansas, just reach out to us and we can set that up, or a meeting with you to talk about those requirements, because I know
Okay.
it's kind of niched with each state.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, all right. I will definitely keep that in mind if we decide that we want to utilize your guys' program. Of course, we got to look at cost and all that stuff. You know how it is with state programs. But it seems like you guys have a really great program here, so I definitely will be sending it up to upper management and see what they think.
Perfect.
Thank you. And if anybody would like to meet just to talk more without setting up a full information session or anything like that, if you or anybody, within your agency would like to meet, just brown bag lunch or whatever, we're happy to do that as well. Jasmine, did you have another question?
I did not. I personally think that everything I've gotten, everything answered. I took a whole bunch of notes, so I think that everything in my book is pretty checked off. So I just wanted to wish everybody a great day.
Well, thank you, and I hope you have a great day as well.
Yes, of course. Bye.
Goodbye. And I hope everyone here has a great day. And if you have any questions later, just reach out to us. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you.